There is nothing worse than a dull knife, and for those of you that use your knives often, you know that at some point or another you're going to have to sharpen it, or you're going to have it sharpened. I don't care if you have the best super steel in the world on your knife, if you're using it, it's going to get dull. So today's video is going to be on sharpening kits, and I'm going to show you an example of one that's a great starter kit. It's a good one for just getting into it without spending a whole lot of money, but something that works and is effective. I started out with a shot of the knives because this bag is ugly, and here it is. This is just a bag I picked up at a Army surplus store, military surplus, and it's a tactical tailor bag. It was about $3. It was filthy when I got it. I cleaned it up, and it works great for what I use it for. Looks like somebody used it as a medic pouch or a medical bag. Anyway, let's get started. So the first thing I have in the starter sharpening kit is going to be a couple of DMT whetstones. These are diamond whetstones. These are about $25–30 a piece. And my primary use for these, and in fact I use this most often, is to repair a damaged blade, or to start reset the bevel of a very, very dull knife. So if a buddy of mine comes over and he's got a knife that he pulled out of his closet, hasn't been sharpened in forever, I'll usually start him on something like this. They're a little bit easier to get a lot of material off very quickly. So you may actually go to a black DMT stone if you're going to do a lot of damaged edges. It's a little more aggressive. That's their extra coarse. That one's about, the extra coarse is about, the black one is about 220 grit. This blue one is about 325. And this red one, which I don't actually use a lot, is a 600 grit. So I'll set those aside here. Let's keep them in the shot. So there's our diamond whetstones. The backbone of this sharpening system here is actually the Spyderco Sharpmaker. This is a great system. It is awesome for maintaining edges. You can get a very dull knife very sharp, however it's a lot easier because of the speed that this removes material to start on a very dull knife with something like this. However, it's possible to do with this. So the Sharpmaker, I'm not going to go into techniques in this video. I'm just going to kind of breeze through this real quick. The Sharpmaker comes with a couple of different grits here. It comes with these medium rods and fine rods. The way ceramic rods works is it's a little difficult to measure them in grit. However, we'll get close. The mediums are about a 600 grit. These ones here are about a 600, and the fines are about a 1200 grit. So they're not super aggressive. However, if you have a decent edge that you're just maintaining, these are going to be great for you. And you might actually want an ultra fine, depending on how you want your edge. That being said, that wasn't quite enough for me. I wanted to do a little bit more work with this thing, so I purchased separately these other rods here. Now these are the diamond rods for the Spyderco Sharpmaker. The diamond rods are about a 220 grit, so a very aggressive rod. It's about the same grit as the black DMT stone. However, as I said, there's more surface area on this than this. So this is going to remove material a lot faster, or the black version rather. It's going to remove material a lot faster than these. However, these are great. I have used these to repair some pretty deep chips. And I also got the ultra fines. The ultra fine rods are about a 2000 grit, so you really start to get a more refined edge with a 2000 grit. The ultra fines they look just like the fines, except for they have a red tip on them. So that's a good place to start there. Now, if you want to get just another hair further, little bit more advanced, a really easy way to do that is just something simple like this. This is a strop block that I actually made. All this is an old leather belt that had some decent grain on it, and a wooden block, and I just used some Gorilla Glue to glue that on. Make sure if you do that you put it in a vise, otherwise Gorilla Glue does expand when it dries, so you'll have a mess on your hands. So put it in a vise. But A strop, all it does is just refine the edge a little bit further and helps realign everything. So you can actually, if you just use it a little bit, you can just do nothing but strop it, and you can bring back a really fine edge that way. This I have also in this little tack here. I've got some stropping compound or polishing compound and a toothbrush. I'll get to that in a second. But this is a couple of different kinds. I've got some green. Actually, that might be the black. I don't know what happened to my green. Some white compound, which is what's on there right now. I've got some red polishing compound there. That's just something you apply to the strop, and it helps polish away that edge a little further. So great thing to have. So a couple more things that I have in here. I do have this toothbrush. I use this toothbrush actually to clean the rods, and I'll show you that in a second. And I have this little container. This particular one has soft scrub in it. I find soft scrub works awesome to clean it. Also Comet and Barkeeper's Friend both work very well to clean your rods. And a Sharpie. I use the Sharpie actually to I'll just use this knife real quick. You can take the Sharpie and you can run it along just the edge so that you can see that you're hitting your whole edge. It's a good way, especially if you're beginning. Definitely use a Sharpie on your edge, and you'll see exactly where you're removing that marker, and that's where you're sharpening. So that's a great tip. I actually picked that tip up from Jay Davis 882, so he's got a great channel for sharpening tips. Actually, back to the cleaning. The reason you use a cleaner on these, and let me find one that's maybe a little dirty. So the reason you use these cleaners, so as you use these rods, the material that you're taking off the knife actually starts to build up or load the rod or even a sharpener. Let's see if we can get in there. So you see the marks, it's like a gray and a black material there. That's actually little bits of metal. So as those build up there, they fill in the gaps where the rod is actually trying to do its sharpening, and you don't sharpen once those are loaded up. So this Sharpmaker, I find I have to clean fairly frequently. If I'm doing a few knives, you got to clean it basically between each knife. So all I do is I take some soft scrub and go into the sink with some water, and I just scrub it away with a fairly stiff bristled toothbrush. Fingernail brush actually works better, but didn't fit in my little kit. So anyway, that's kind of a basic starter kit. If you use something like this, you're going to get some very fine edges. I was actually able to get at one point a hair whittling edge on this Spyderco Tenacious. Was it the most perfect hair whittling edge? No, but it got pretty fine. It took a lot of work. You can see how shiny that edge is, and that's just a lot of work on the finer blocks. So you step down through each stage, and you can get some pretty nice clean edges there. If I really wanted to do it, I probably need to get some finer grits. The other reason I did it on this knife, I kind of cheated a little. This is a softer steel. This is you can see it here. This is a 8CR13 MOV. So this is a very easy knife to start out sharpening, Spyderco Tenacious. And I'll do a review on this knife at some point. This is probably the best bang for your buck knife that I think is out there. So very forgiving knife to sharpen, because if you mess up, I mean, it's not very expensive, and it's easy to kind of fix. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you like the information that I'm giving out. Definitely give it a thumbs up, and keep watching. I've got my contest video still running. That is going to be over on the 31st of March, so make sure you put in for that. Thanks a lot, and have a great day.